episode of Youngstown Penguin Football Podcast. With me, as always, are my co-host. That's Dan Kopp. That's Kurt Hess. That's Kyle Searle. I'm Sal Guardo. Sorry, I'm very sleep deprived from the new board. Trying to get my stuff together, though. But long story short, your Youngstown State Penguins did win a big fashion over Robert Morris, 56-17. And if anyone had any doubt over Bro Brungard, he definitely silenced any doubters. Huge records broke, both in conference, school, national player of the week. Congrats, hats off to him. But first, before we get into it, as always, follow us on Instagram, Whitetown Penguin Podcast. Kurt is watching that, and we are on YouTube Live, as always. And Kyle Searle is marching that as well. Get in the chat, check it out. Of course, give us a like and a subscribe and a 5-star review anywhere you get your podcast. It would be much appreciated. Things we're going to get into tonight, definitely recapping that awesome Robert Morris victory, getting you ready for Michigan State as we head up to East Lansing. And we'll get you the latest rankings now that the Penguins are ranked. And, of course, we are going to recap the rest of the Missouri Valley Football Conference. First, let's just quickly recap this game. I'm not going to go over every touchdown as it got out of hand very quickly in our favor. Very first drive, as we all know who watched the game, things got very scary at first as Robert Morris really had an 11-play walk down the field. Didn't seem like we'd get off the field, but luckily they settled for a field goal. We answered right back with a Max Tomczak touchdown, putting the Penguins up. The defense answered the ring, 3 and out. We get the ball back. Bro Brungard, 72-yard touchdown. Before you know it, we're up 14-3. Then we get the ball back again on a 3 and out. Bo Brungard again on a 20-yard run, 21-3. And then things just start to get out of hand in the second quarter. We go 80 yards for a 2-yard run by Gardner. Brungard has another 4-yard touchdown. Before you know it, it's halftime at 42-3. Third quarter, a couple more touchdowns come in before we kind of start to call the dogs off. 56-17 as Robert Morris gets a couple touchdowns in garbage time, if you will. Fantastic game. And even better than that was the call by Kyle Searle on ESPN Plus. Those of you who watch on the app, Kyle, hats off. Great job. You were like a professional. If I didn't know you, I would think you worked at ESPN. Very well done.
Hey, thanks,
all
Sal.
that said, and all that aside, guys, I'm going to let y'all recap it. But first, I'm excited. Either Mercyhurst was really good, Robert Morris is really bad, or the 2023 Doug Phillips Penguins team is back, and the Penguins are back. Kurt, what are your thoughts, man? Especially on the offense.
No, I definitely agree with you, Sal. I think all of us going into this game, we're kind of looking for that next step of maturity from our offense and really from our entire football team. Could we put away a team that doesn't deserve to be on the field with us for 60 minutes or for 4 quarters? Could we put them away early? Could we create enough gap between us score-wise, total yardage-wise, and time of possession, all of that stuff? Could we take that next step and show the next level of maturation for this football team? We did that on the offensive side of the ball. The defense did not let them get any of the plays that they were hoping to get early to kind of get them excited. And then before halftime, the game was pretty much out of reach for Robert Morris. We knew we had the best athlete on the field, but we also found out that we also had the best commentator in the box. And that's what's really the most exciting for us is you're like, wow, we have Bo Brungard and Kyle Searle today. This is a great Saturday for Penguin Nation. So I'm really looking forward for things to come. That was beautiful.
The sledge, that's his handle. That's what they call him, actually.
The sledge.
Let's get Dradicard to start calling him the sledge.
The sledgehammer.
What do you think, Sledge? Toss it over to you for a big third down.
If you watch the game, everyone knows Kyle Searle's opinion, but let's get his off-the-record opinion. Now that he's on a professional setting. What do you think, Sledge?
All right, is this where I jump in with my hot takes? I've been fired up since Saturday after the game to get rolling. I wanted to do the show Sunday.
Since the Chick-fil-A hit, he's been ready.
Yeah, since that Chick-fil-A in the Don Constantini Media Center, I was
Let's
just
go.
ready to go. No, let me just talk about it really quick from an aspect of seeing the game, controlling an opponent like Kurt said that we should, and we have that had historically no business being on the field with us. Now in I think 2015, we did go to overtime with Robert Morris. I was thinking, hey, after the close win against Mercyhurst, is Robert Morris going to come in and give us a game? And respectfully, they were only down 10-3 at halftime to West Virginia. So I was thinking, well, is their defense pretty decent? What's going on? You know, they didn't score many points, but like, what's their defense look like? Let me say this, and everyone knows that I call it pretty square on the show, right? Like I'm not a true homer. Like I just try to be as realistic with the things that I say on the show so I don't have freezing cold takes like Sal. Okay? From what I saw on Saturday, if this team continues to grow and get better and compete, I believe we can compete for a national championship. I think the guys that we have in the backfield, including Bo, we have Dre and I were talking 5 guys at running back, and they're all dominant in their own way, shape, or form. Okay. If Bo can start pressing the ball downfield, defenses won't know how to adjust because he can run, and if he can start to throw deep shots instead of slants and bubbles and things like that, I truly think that this team can score points at will. With that being said, the defense, there's a couple guys I want to shout out. Okay, Thomas Jolly, defensive tackle, senior. Colin Vaughn, defensive tackle, senior. Those guys are big, athletic. We're constantly working on the opposite side of the line of scrimmage. We have Ebony Curry Jr., phenomenal pass rush lanes across the board. And number 3, Michael Wells. Okay, he's listed as a linebacker, and he was playing down on end. Okay, and it seems very natural for him. And then we dropped into a 3-man set, and then Michael Wells was able to just get back into a linebacker position or a 3-man front. So Michael Wells was back, so we were in like a 3-4, and then he could come down into a 4-3. That's really awesome if we can do that. So shout out to those guys. What I will say that I think it was very, very important and awesome that basically our 2s got some playing time in the second half, because you can't replicate game experience in practice. You can try to replicate the speed, but it's just not there, right? So my thing is, if the 2s come along and get some more playing time and experience and can just basically plug and play, if a starter goes down or whatever the case may be, that's going to take us further. And I say it because Robert Morris's ones didn't come off the field at all. And that's when they started to have some success, right? Like, not true success like YSU was moving the ball at will, but they were picking apart the 2s. And that's fine because the game was out of hand and it's getting them, experience. There's just a little drop off. And that's, I think, across the board at the FCS level, you're going to get some drop off from who goes in with the backups. Not to be prisoner of the moment, I think this team can make some noise this year. I think Bo looks comfortable back there. And man, heaven forbid if you let him out of the pocket and you don't have anyone outside containing, it's a first down.
So Kyle, it's real quick. My hot take from a month ago when I said I think we could beat the Jackrabbits if the game's in Youngstown, Ohio. Am I still crazy?
No.
It's possible.
But here's where you also talked out the other side of your mouth and saying a trip to Normal, Illinois scares you. So, my argument was, how can you say we can beat the Jackrabbits at home, and then we don't have a shot against Illinois State, who is ranked 4 in some polls. Now, here's the deal. The deal is this, okay? Robert,
Get him,
Get
Sledge.
going.
Get him, Sledge. Get him.
You have
Get
the
him,
mic,
Sledge.
Kyle. Go ahead.
we expected to do exactly what we did against Robert Morris, okay? We expected it. But we need to continue to not rest on that and understand, like, hey, this was who we are. I almost would have not liked to see Bo get those 270-yard runs so we could see what some of this offense looked like. Like Kai Flash, is it Wilson? Kai Flash?
Wilson. Yeah.
Wilson.
Kai Wilson.
You know, super quick. Like, we were racing to the perimeter on a lot of our plays. I just want to be able to see us line up and run it down someone's throat as well. So I think we, you know, I don't want to be one-dimensional with Bo. Like I said, I think that if he can start pressing the ball downfield, it's going to be a nightmare for defenses.
DK, what do you think about the game?
Well, I mean, I think this is probably maybe one other time did we score more than 56 points since Doug has been the head coach. I think we might have put 59 up on someone in his maybe back in 23, but I think someone mentioned it, maybe Kyle or Kurt, maybe both did. Our running back depth. When was the last time we were this deep at running back? And credit to Cookie and Jody Webb and all the Marcus Mason groups, all those, you know, kind of guys. But man, we are legitimately 4 deep or 5 deep at running back. We have a running back that transferred from Ohio State who, you know, is trying to get in the lineup. So we're deep there, which speaks to the depth overall. I mean, Kyle touched on that. Michael Wells is playing DN. He's a linebacker. We were bringing guys in left and right. We've been talking about Bo for quite a while now, and I'd like to hear what Kurt thinks about this, about a quarterback starting to settle in that comfort level, second year starting. Obviously, I mean, he's been the best athlete on the field the last 3 games that we've done a show about. Northern Iowa game, obviously Mercyhurst and Robert Morris. By far, Bo Brungard has been the best player on the field in those games, by like head and shoulders above anybody else. So as Kyle said, if he will continue to progress, how scary can that be when Kyle said, I mean, there are still teams loading the box and to stop him from running. So now is that going to open up passing lanes for him, deep shots, all those things that I think it'd be interesting to hear Kurt's take on that. The depth even later in the game, when's the last time we've had a game where basically our starters were kind of done at halftime? They played into the third quarter and the game was over. When's the last time we've been able to kind of talk about that? So obviously we're trending in the right direction of a team that has a lot of depth, a team that looks physical. And, you know, I'm kind of curious to see what offensive sets haven't we shown yet. I still haven't. When's it going to be the set where we got 2 backs in Bo? Now what are you going to do in that case? What does that open up for passing for Bo? But I was just excited to see explosiveness. And we've got a quarterback that, I mean, how many games are we going to be in this year where he is not the best player on the field? Now it's early. I know it's early. Yeah, that's true. Yep.
He might be this week. He might be the best athlete on the field this week.
Yeah, I mean, so we have a quarterback who we could sit here and maybe say week in, week out, is he the best player in the game? We're not there yet. We've played 2 football games, a long way to go, all that stuff. And obviously a shout out not only to Kyle. I mean, you were awesome on the cast there, Kyle, on the TV feed. And thanks to Dre Smith for giving us some love on air there about the show. We appreciate Dre. I mean, I can remember when Dre was just kind of starting with Trevor in that group. It goes to show you how old I am. But a big shout out to Dre. Thanks for, talking about the show. It means a lot to us, and we all love the program. And for him to say a little bit about us, was really cool. I didn't know if Kyle was kind of like had him in a headlock before that segment and said, if you don't say something, I'm going to choke you out. But I believe Dre was just giving us some love. So my take is all good. Great win. We got a lot of depth. Now let's just keep getting better.
And to your point, Dan, we were actually texting about this when you were saying, hey, can we run two backs? I was texting in the thread. I said, hey, I don't know if this offensive coordinator decided to just open up the playbook or if he was keeping it close to the chest against Mercyhurst, or maybe he saw how good Bo Brungard actually is in live game. Like Kyle mentioned, you can't really simulate that in practice. And maybe he didn't realize it until he saw it in game one and said, hey, I need to completely restructure this offense, or maybe he had it. But last year when we had Bo and some good running backs, which I think we have even better running backs this year, I said, I mean, I was kind of crazy. I'm not going to take the credit, but I said, I want to see something like, give me like a gun split with a pistol. And I saw it a few times on there where Bo was just surrounded with running backs. It was almost like a newer version of a triple option, where you didn't know where the ball was going. Play to the strengths of your best player or your quarterback, which is Bo. Bo's not a sit in the pocket, throw it down the field guy. We all know it, but he has strengths. And we did that. And the other thing to take away from this, and this could be a crazy take, I think our defense is better than our offense. Hats off to our defensive coordinator. Handline, he's done a great job. I mean, that Mercyhurst, I wasn't with y'all last week, but Mercyhurst, that quarterback, he may be a top 5 or 6 quarterback we see all year, and we put him in check. That guy was a gunslinger. And then after the first drive, made a couple adjustments. They didn't move the ball at all until garbage time. Like, the defense looks great, and hats off to them. Offense, I'm gonna admit I had a lot of doubts after Mercyhurst, but Bo and that offense was clicking. And grain of salt, that was Robert Morris. So let's, kind of trend slow there. But lastly, again, Bo Brungard, he running the ball 264 yards and just 10 carries. Crazy. He was the FCS Offensive Player of the Week nationally and in conference. And that is a conference and a school record for a quarterback rushing in a game. Congratulations to him.
I did tell Dre off camera during a commercial break. I said, I love my boy Kurt, but that's one record he'll never be able to get.
I would like to hear Kurt's. I would like to hear Kurt's take on the evolution of what we're seeing with Bo, coming from a Hall of Fame quarterback who played his freshman year and then into his sophomore year. So, Kurt, what's your take on just watching him?
I think this is the Shane Montgomery coaching school that I've gone to. Like, Shane was just never get too high and never get too low. And I probably overreacted a little bit after Mercyhurst, but now I'm feeling like the question that's glaring in my head right now is, do we know what football team we have? Do we know? Because last year when we played Villanova right off the bat, it felt like we knew what we were going to be. We played very subpar against an average Mercyhurst team, and we blew out a team that we were supposed to blow out. We're going to go play Michigan State and hope to be in the game and be competitive. If we get blown out at Michigan State, it's week 4. We're traveling to Towson, and I don't know if we know who we are. That's my biggest concern right now with this football team. I do think that Bo has matured. I think he definitely looks a lot more comfortable, and he's going to remain the best athlete on the field. He still might be the best athlete of the field, Michigan State. 100% Searle and Sal. The defense looks like they're communicating at a much higher level than they were last year. And Searle, your point about Mike Wells being a hybrid, that is a heck of a task to face that as a quarterback, because you never really know where that guy is. You take one step, drop back, he's either rushing you and blitzing you, or he's dropped into coverage. And if you look up and you don't know where he is, you're like, where the heck is that one guy who was standing up over there? That's tough. And he's a good hybrid player over there. So shout out, sir. Like, Mike Wells is a good player for us, and he's hard. I do think our defensive backfield is much improved. The biggest thing that I'm holding on to right now is we definitely have one of the best athletes in the FCS. What are we ranked? 300. We're 300 yards rushing a week. We're ranked second in the FCS nationally. Like, We got a good solid run game. My biggest concern right now is, do we know what team we are? Because we're going to face teams with better speed. We're going to face teams with better length. And Bo can't run all over those teams. And a lot of those teams are in our conference, and they're ranked higher than us. So Bo's definitely evolved. I believe that Bo can actually throw the ball. He looks a little bit smoother mechanic-wise throwing the ball down the field. I don't think we really needed it that much. Michigan State's defensive backfield struggled last week against Boston College, and I think they got some injuries on the defensive side of the ball. So I think Coach Yurcich, I'm probably saying that wrong, is going to have some. He's going to have some play actions built in, and if we can run the ball at all, we are going to have our shots in the game. So it's on Bo to take that last deep breath, which I remember we beat Pitt. I did not on my first couple of drives. I was way too adrenaline hype. I was throwing balls way too far. Take that last deep breath. Let your guy run under it. I think we can make some noise this Saturday. My biggest concern is I still don't know after 3 weeks, are we going to know what football team we have? What's our identity? So that's where I'm at with it. It's tough, man. I'm in a tough spot right now.
Kurt, the realist, he's not a vibe guy like the rest of us. That's for sure.
No, you are. No, I normally I am, but it's like all of this hype. It's just like Shane Montgomery in the back of my head. Like, yo,
I was gonna say
you threw 4 touchdowns, but I'm gonna pick up your MAs tomorrow at film, and it's just like,
I was gonna say
I gotta stay even keeled.
Yeah, normally
I can tell
and he might be getting coached like that. Bo might be getting coached just like that.
He probably is, because he looks very calm. He looks like his demeanor's well. He's definitely got the locker room. He's definitely got his offensive line and his running backs. I mean, the running backs that we had when we were playing, those 5 guys were pretty good. Cook, Bellamy, Jordan Thompson, a young Martin Ruiz, Jody Webb, Torian Pace. I mean, we had 4 or 5, 6 guys.
Damon Himes. Remember we had Damon Himes too?
Alan Jones. I mean, we had 5 Missouri Valley Conference starting tailbacks, and
they were lined up out
we
the
have
door.
that now.
Yep.
Yeah. I was going to say, I could tell you played for Shane, because that was like a Shane answer. And you're
no,
right.
Listen, if
until we
got
played
good vibes,
Towson, we don't really know.
You know that.
Yeah. Well, anyway, let's move on. I did, before I went into the delivery room, I paused everything, made sure I sent y'all my picks, and I noticed that you guys never mentioned my picks. So I'm very upset about that. So I'm throwing that week out. No,
we were trying to figure out how to turn Riverside on.
Well, let's recap the rest of the Valley and see how everyone else did last week. Some very surprising scores that I was kind of shocked to see. Starting with Indiana State, they won and covered 38-14 over Eastern Illinois. Youngstown State 100% won and cover, as we went in depth with 56-17 over Robert Morris. North Dakota State over Tennessee State won and cover 59-3. What was a 7-7 game for a long time, Northern Iowa, I really thought they had it in them at Wyoming, but Wyoming peels away 31-7 for a win and cover. Portland State at North Dakota. As we all know, Portland State has really struggled, but they finally get their first points of the season in game 3 for them. North Dakota wins 50-20, but does not cover. That would go to Portland State. Morehead State at Illinois State. Illinois State wins and covers 41-13. Southeastern Louisiana at Murray State. Some of us were saying this might be one of the only chances Murray State has. I think it is, now that we know Indiana State's pretty good. Southeastern Louisiana wins and covers 45-27. South Dakota at Lamar, kind of the shocking score. Lamar wins and, of course, covers 20-13 over the Yotes. Southern Illinois at Purdue. Purdue wins but cannot cover on a 34-17 game. And then the game of the week, which did not disappoint, South Dakota State at Montana State, which is number 2 versus number 3, goes into double overtime. South Dakota State wins 30-24, which is 6 points. Not good enough to cover the spread, though, but South Dakota State does win. Just each of us quick around the room, just quick takes on what y'all think about the conference so far. Anything stick out to you, Curdy?
Yeah, it seems like every other year it might alternate. North Dakota or South Dakota is a fraud. North Dakota seems to be pretty good this year, and South Dakota might be the fraud. So,
yeah, Cyril.
Yeah, I didn't see the South Dakota score until Sunday. Kind of surprised by that. It was at Lamar. I don't know where Lamar is. Yeah, so I'd be interested to just tune into I forget what their podcast is, Back the Yotes or whatever, to see what they have to say. The South Dakota State game with Montana, for whatever reason, those two schools match up really well. I think the score last year was 9-12 or 12-9 or something like that. It was a 3-score game or a 3-point game or something like that, from what I remember. And just it's mind blowing to me how Vegas can get spreads as close as they are. It was 7.5
Crazy.
points. It was 7.5 points, double overtime. Montana State scores first. South Dakota State answers. South Dakota State gets the ball. Deep shot right away. Scores on the first play of second overtime. Misses the 2-point conversion. So if they get it, they cover the spread. Obviously, if Montana State doesn't score like they didn't, and they miss it, and then they have it swing the other way, right? It's literally one option. So I just think that it was crazy that Vegas had that dialed in that way. I expected it to be around a 7-point game. I figured South Dakota State would cover. Good job to them winning on the road in Montana State. The last time I watched Montana State play, they lost to North Dakota State in overtime on a blocked field goal or extra point. But this Montana school has to hate the Dakotas just as much as Youngstown State and the rest of the Missouri Valley for just the way that they just lose to these teams. Like, they don't do anything wrong, but they just don't win, right? So what else do I got here? Murray State, I had no idea who Southeast Louisiana was, and they went in there and smacked Murray State. So they might have an 0 season. And
is that where Bobby Boucher went to school?
I was going to say, I don't think Southeastern Louisiana has been good since the Bourbon Bowl in the 90s.
Yeah, the Mud Dogs. But
he loves his mama.
I'm looking at Murray State's schedule right now. I don't think they're going to win a game. And I don't know how you come into the conference, and it's your second year in the conference. You got to be able to recruit for the conference. It seems like, Indiana State might be jumping up with joy over there in Terre Haute because they're not, perennially picked last anymore. And Indiana State, like roller coasters, once in a while they'll get a good developmental roster, and the juniors and seniors have some pretty good pushes in the conference. But Murray State looks far away from ever competing in this conference.
Right. Dan, what do you think? Or
not much. Kyle, you good?
Go ahead, Dan.
I'm good. I'm driving.
Okay. I don't have much to add other than that Kyle's point. If you're Montana State, what do you got to do to beat those Dakota schools? So we've been drubbed by them by three and 4 touchdowns, and that doesn't feel any better than losing by 6 when you play your hearts out. So that's just South Dakota State. So, but other than that, nothing else. We can move on.
Yeah. In my opinion, I think you have nationally, you have North Dakota State and then everybody else. They're in their own world. I think they got really lucky. I know I said a couple years ago that Matt Ince was killing the program, and I think he was. They are very lucky he left. At the same time, Craig Bowles decided to retire from Wyoming. So they brought that new regime back, and things are clicking in Fargo. And I think, Dan, you mentioned it. People underrate the coaching change, and the Jackrabbits went through it, and South Dakota went through it. And I think both of them, although both good teams, they both took a step back. I don't think South Dakota State's as good as the last couple of years. And obviously, I don't think South Dakota's as good as the last couple of years. I think North Dakota might be the second best team in this conference right now. They look really good. So that's just something to look out for.
What happened in North Dakota's offseason? Obviously, they made a coaching change, but then it's like you can't recruit well, I guess you could with the portal, but it's just like, what switched what is that, Sioux City?
Yeah.
What
do they do? I don't
it's
know.
like they're night
Same
and
with
day
Indiana
difference.
State. Like they're scoring points now. Like what the hell do they do?
They legitimately should have a win against a preseason ranked FBS team.
I mean, I think it goes back to this. We've talked about this from day one. In those two states, you have a captive audience. You're not having to out-recruit Miami of Ohio, Kent State, Akron, Bowling Green, Toledo. You are – so the coaching change maybe doesn't affect that as much because the kids you're getting are still – they're lifting weights. They're baling hay. They're going to class, drinking beer, doing
tobacco.
Yeah, exactly. Shooting guns, hunting, hunting hobos, doing all the things that they do out there that I mean, it's not the coaching change happens, but your roster and the things you guys even talked to Ron Strollo about that we even asked about is, has the portal really hit the Dakotas yet? And my answer to that would be no. Maybe it never will quite like it does us, but when they keep having first round draft picks, maybe these schools are going to start plucking the bigger schools. But I just think the Dakota schools reload because they have in-state kids who grow up with those programs, and there's I mean, come on, all four of us have been out there.
Yeah. Well, the point that the commentators made during the Montana and South Dakota State game, the Montana State and South Dakota State game, is that not only are they relatively only like recruiting against each other, but there are no pro sports in that part of the country. So it's like that is your professional sport. And I think one of the Montana State kids had opportunities to go play at a Power 4 school. And he said, hey, like my commitment's here, Montana State, like playing for his hometown team. I think his younger brother's on the team. So playing with his brother, like that stuff matters to those guys in that region of the country. And I never thought about the pro, and I just brought it up because I never thought about the pro sports aspect of it. Like we got the Browns, we got the Bengals, there's the Steelers, and it's just like guys like sign contracts and move and get traded and all that stuff. And so kind of like moving teams in this part of the country might just be part of the game. And maybe that's where a majority of athletes in today's game are just like, hey, it's just part of the game. Where there it's like, no, I grew up rooting for the Montana State Bobcats to beat the Montana Grizzlies every single year. I have my opportunity to play here. Why would I ever want to go anywhere else? And I just thought that was a unique little twist on that.
No doubt. One last thing, back to I appreciate you guys hitting on this on last week's episode. Missouri State Tracker. Missouri State getting their first FBS win as they beat Marshall at Marshall 21-20. So hats off to them as a fourth quarter comeback. They scored a touchdown in the third quarter and a touchdown in the fourth quarter to win by 1 point. Any thoughts or opinions on that before we move on?
We are Marshall.
Yeah. Well, we'll see if that was a fluke or if it continues, but congrats to Missouri State. Updated FCS coaching rankings. We have not really hit on these because we have not been ranked, but we do finally break the polls. Your Youngstown State Penguins are now number 25 in the country. I don't know if it's because of our performance or because of teams dropping out, but here is who's ranked in the conference. Number 1, North Dakota State. Number 2, South Dakota State, of course. Number 4 is Illinois State. Don't tell Kyle Searle. And number 14 is the Southern Illinois Salukis, somehow slightly overrated, some say, but everyone has their own take. Number 17, North Dakota. Number 20, still in there, who are 0-2, looking for their first one of the season still, is South Dakota. Not sure how they're still ranked up there. And then, as I mentioned, Youngstown State, number 25, to end your top 25. Anything out of that anyone wants to point out or thoughts?
Where
Southern
did
Illinois seems fair. I mean, they played Purdue to a 17-point game, and I think Purdue looked like they took a step forward in the Big Ten after week 1. But I don't know. I mean, South Dakota ahead of us is kind of goofy, but they were
Yeah, I
preseason
don't.
top
I
5.
guess I
So
just.
have we beaten anybody? I don't know.
I guess I just don't know why. South Dakota is 0-2, and yes, they lost to Iowa State, but they lost to Iowa State 55-7. I think this conference can compete more. Obviously, like North Dakota took Kansas State, who was on the other side of that game in Ireland, and took Kansas State to the wire because the Kansas State Iowa State score was close. So, and then, like I said, I'm not familiar with Lamar. They lose to Lamar, close game, 20-13, but they're 0-2 and they're still in the top 20. So I think that they should maybe be 25 at best and then have to work their way back up. So that kind of is weird to me, but
I was thinking that. I thought us and South Dakota should trade places would be fair. Then North Dakota, no respect, is kind of crazy to me.
Well, you have Sacramento State that's 0-2, ranked 21. You have Mercer that's 0-1. That I believe if the UC Davis game didn't get
they would have won.
They would have won that game. They had everything going in their favor. So is UC Davis on here still? UC Davis is ranked 9. They're 1-1. They should be 1-2. So it's like we can't be prisoner of the moment to the first 2 weeks of the season. I get it. I totally do. But some of these rankings are a little probably skewed high.
Yeah.
That's
how it started. Yeah. All right. Let's move on, boys. You guys ready?
Run it.
All right. Your Youngstown State Penguins are at Michigan State in East Lansing, Michigan this Saturday, September 13th at 3:30 p.m. live on the Big Ten Network National TV. As of yesterday, I haven't checked the weather lately, it's going to be a warm 80 degrees, mostly sunny, and the sun's going to set just at the end of the game. So it'll be a lovely afternoon up there in East Lansing for those of you looking to travel. How has Michigan State done so far this year? Well, they opened with Western Michigan, beat them 23-6 in what was really a sloppy game. Then they had a crazy game as they hosted Boston College. Was a very back and forth game, went into double overtime. Michigan State pulls it out. As we all know, in the double overtime rules, you have to go for 2. Boston College scored last and opted to just kick the extra point and not go for 2. Therefore, they had to go for 2 on the next round. Didn't make it. Michigan State did. Everything is riding high for them. Next game, they are now hosting their 3rd home game as the Penguins come into town. And just to kind of look ahead, as some people call a look ahead game, but I just wanted to mention this. They are at USC the following week, which I am sure is going to be a huge game. If you're in the shoes of Michigan State, that is definitely circled and highlighted on your calendar. You're not looking at the Penguins. You may not care about the Penguins. You're thinking USC. That is only great news for us. Get ready, boys. That could be a highlight. But just fast facts on Michigan State. So everyone knows our record all time against Michigan State is 0-3. We've played them 3 times. Us on the show partook in what was the first battle in 2011. We lost 28-6. If I remember, I think we were up 6-0, right? It was a touchdown and then a missed extra point, if I remember, versus Kirk Cousins. And then 2013, we lost 55-17. And then lastly, in what was really Doug Phillips' first true season, we lost 42-14 in 2021. So 0-3. Jonathan Smith is the head coach now in his 2nd season. Definitely excuse his first season as he came in inheriting a complete mess that was between Mel Tucker and Michigan State, separating lawsuits going back and forth, 1, 2, and the other. Jonathan Smith coming in at a really weird situation, but he is an Oregon State guy. He's an alumni. He was their former head coach. I've said this on the show before. He won at Oregon State with DJ Uiagalelei, which is something Mike Norvell could not do and Dabo Sweeney could not do. So that is very respectful that he was actually get something out of that guy. I also put on the notes. I don't know if anyone knows Jeremy Renner, the actor, but I think every time I see him on the sideline, I think that's who it is. I think it's his twin brother. Just throw that out there.
Well,
Michigan.
and Sal, another fun fact about Jonathan Smith, as I was reading about him too, he played, I think, late 90s and early 2000s at Oregon State. Both his receivers, Chad Johnson, Chad Ochocinco, and TJ Houshmandzadeh. So they went 11-1 and finished 4th in the nation. So the guy knows how to win ball. He knows passing game, and you win 10 games at Oregon State ever, which is what he did as a head coach. You're relevant, like that's big time. Their attendance, I was looking, it's like 28,000 a game. It's not much more than what our capacity could be at YSU. So making this jump to Michigan State is a huge career move for him, even though he is a Beaver.
Yeah, I think if the Pac-12 doesn't fall apart the way it does, I think he's at Oregon State for the rest of his life. But due to Oregon State technically not being independent, I think he had to make the jump. And how's Michigan State been just as a team? Well, just so everyone knows, their last conference championship was won in 2015 under Mark D'Antonio. Everyone knows him as Youngstown State's former defensive coordinator, who's gone on to do great things at Michigan State for a long time. The last 10-win season was 2021 under Mel Tucker. That's when they gave him that long, very expensive contract. And then before that, it was 2017. So it's been quite a roller coaster for Michigan State. They're either really good or really bad. But I just wanted to kind of compare the two schools. Enrollment, 52,000. They have like an 83% acceptance rate. Their endowment is $4.4 billion. Just some famous alums. Lover or hater, current governor of Michigan is an alum. Gretchen Whitmer. Plaxico Burress, I had to put that on for Dan Kopp. Magic Johnson is definitely a Spartan. And here's a fun one for you. Chris Hansen, well known for his To Catch a Predator on NBC. He is also a famous alum. All that fun stuff is said. Let's talk football, boys. Kyle Searle, you're up first. What do you think about Michigan State? And give me a score prediction.
Let me say that in 2013, that 55-17 loss, we were pretty confident going into that game. You know, playing them close, 28-6. I mean, the game was much closer than 28-6 for a long time. I think it was. I think it was
14-6 going into the fourth.
14-6 going in the fourth. Like, hey, we're in striking distance going into the fourth. We're a touchdown and a 2-point conversion away from tying it. So we were riding high going in there in 2013, not knowing that Michigan State team was going to win the Rose Bowl that year, right? Won the Big Ten, won the Rose Bowl. We got smacked, but
Connor Cook.
It was Connor Cook, yeah.
Ohio boy, Walsh boy, right?
Yep, from Walsh, lives in Hudson. Ran into him while I was getting some ice cream one night. Good dude, you know, whatever. Anyways, man, I think, like I said, I don't want to be prisoner of the moment. I call it like I see it on this show as much as I can. I think we have a shot to win this game. And it's going to come down to using everybody we have. That is so cliche. I hate saying cliche things. I was telling Dre in the booth, don't let me say cliche shit in here. It can sound dumb, right? You know, when we beat Pitt, we never trailed in that game. In 2012, we never trailed against Pitt. So what I think we need to do is we need to start fast and not let up, right? So, you know, letting Robert Morris go down on an 11-play drive and kick a field goal, and we're kind of feeling them out. Like we don't have that luxury to feel Michigan State out. Like we have to be confident in who we are as players and put in the work this week that I'm sure they're doing. And I've never, like, even when we were playing Valparaiso when they were 0-36, like, we never looked ahead to anyone else. So sure, you can say, oh, were they looking ahead if, whatever the case may be. I don't think that's what Michigan State's going to be doing looking ahead to USC. So more thinking like defensively for us, not worrying about, what Michigan State has going on, is continue to it's going to come down to Colin Vaughn, Thomas Jolly, Mike Wells, and Ebony Curry Jr. containing that quarterback, putting pressure on him consistently, and not giving him anywhere to escape. And hopefully, we can force him to do things he doesn't want to do. If Mike Wells is at linebacker and then is playing up at defensive end, like Kurt said, or he's at end and it drops out and you're not sure where he's going, and you have Ebony Curry Jr. coming off the end, he wants to dump it down. Oh, there's Mike Wells, and it's something stupid like that. I'm just saying, like, that can swing the whole game. So containing this guy, disciplined pass rushing lanes. It looks like he's a mobile guy, so it's like, hey, if you contain him. Typically, mobile guys want to run first and then throw, but we'll see.
Gertie.
Yeah, I think that there's some positives here for us as we look to try to, be competitive in this game and maybe get ourselves in a position late in the fourth quarter to try to pull something off. I think the Boston College game last week for Michigan State was a little bit more telling of the struggles that they have at the defensive backfield. So if we're out to have big plays, I think those are available for us if we can find them. The other thing on that piece is Bo's probably going to be one of the least sacked quarterbacks in our conference at the end of the year, just because of his mobility and in the way that he can navigate inside and outside the pocket. Michigan State wasn't able to sack anybody one time last week against Boston College. We do have the second highest rushing average nationally at the FCS level with 300 yards a game. If we can get any semblance of a run game and get ourselves into some third and shorts, I think we have the playmakers in terms of Max Tomczak, our quarterback Bo Brungard, and then some of those young guys like Flash Wilson and some of those other receivers that we have that have yet to step up. The opportunities are going to be there for them to extend drives to keep our defense off the field, because I think our defense is going to match up with them pretty well. When we played against Michigan State, it was a Mike D'Antonio program that was very established. It was solid, and they were competing at a high level against Ohio State, Penn State, and Michigan. They were looking at 8+ wins every year. And I don't think this Michigan State team with Jonathan Smith is going to be looking ahead to USC, even though that's a flashy part of their schedule. They had 5 wins last year. When you have 5 wins and you're trying to build a culture and you're building a program, you're not talking about what's coming up. You're talking about taking it one day at a time, and what's the process. The other thing that needs to be noted is when we played back in the early 2010s, there was a huge discrepancy, I think, of ability level and talent level and 3 stars, 5 stars, 4 stars. Now you see a little bit less of that because Michigan State's going to be starting 2 offensive linemen this week that were FCS players last year. Connor Moore, I think, is the first guy's name who transferred in, and he's probably going to start on the offensive line. He played at Montana State last year and was second-team All-American at the FCS level. They also have another guy, I forget his name right now, who was an offensive lineman for Western Carolina. So 40% of their offensive line was playing at the FCS level last year. I don't know what that talent disparity is going to look like on Saturday, but I do think that we have a lot of positives going our way. That being said, we have to avoid turnovers. We've done a good job of taking care of the football, and we have to convert on third down. I love that our defense is communicating very well. Searle talked a lot about the defense. I think that that's looking good for us. I don't know if the talent level of the disparity is the same as it was 5 years ago or as it was 10 years ago. If we've made that gap a little bit closer, the plays are there based on the first 2 games for Michigan State. That being said, they are not looking ahead at all. They are going by the process. They want to make noise. They've only had 5 wins last year, so you know that program's trying to get up to like 7 or 8 wins. They can't lay an egg against Youngstown State this week. So I'm looking to see a little bit more about what our team is and who we're going to be this season. Hopefully on Saturday, we learn a little bit more about ourselves. I'd love to see a competitive game because the last time we played an FBS opponent, it was Pitt and it wasn't close, boys. It was 77-13. I mean, it was a hard watch, a lot of commercials. When there's a lot of commercials and we're playing Pitt, that's not a good thing.
No, give me a score though.
Oh, golly.
I didn't give a score either.
I didn't want to hear it.
I'll give you a score.
35-21. Spartans.
Go ahead, Sledge.
Give me 24-30 Michigan State. And I hope I'm wrong.
Wow. DK, are you as bold as the Sledge? What do you think?
Well, I'll start. What's the line? What's the
28 and a half.
Yeah, give me that. I'll take. Give me the Penguins and 4 touchdowns all day long. I'm not smart enough to predict a score like that, but I mean, these are the same things we have. Us on the show we're a part of. I mean, Kurt and Kyle were on the field when we beat Pitt. How did we beat Pitt? I mean, we dominated that game, but there was an early turnover. We didn't commit any turnovers. We converted on third down. We had positive plays on first down, and I think to beat a Big Ten team, you got to do those things. I mean, we can't go 3 and out, whether we throw the ball or run the ball, punt, they score, we get the ball back, 3 and out. We can't put our defense in those kind of spots, but there's going to have to be some things that our offense does that Michigan State hasn't seen yet. I mean, Pitt couldn't stop our guy, right? Number 4, we were running jet sweeps, right? And they just couldn't contain him. I'm not sure if, in some aspect, Bo's going to have his moments where he's going to probably escape and pick up yards, but as Kurt said, against the Big Ten team, you're going to have to throw the ball some too. It was interesting on the Monday night football game the other night that new coach of the Bears was telling Caleb Williams, a heck of a quarterback, let's just focus on completions. I don't care if it's an 8-yard completion or a 20-yard completion. Let's get some completions, get your feet under you, and let's move the ball. So I would think that is an approach offensively we'll have to take to run the ball. Obviously, we beat Pitt because we could run the ball and we didn't turn over. We created turnovers. When the last time I think we played Michigan State, we turned the ball over and, next thing you know, we're down, 24 points. So all those things will have to happen for us to, make it a game because, history can show it can get out of hand pretty quick. But we have something we've all talked about that we haven't had under Doug that I think I've heard him talk about is depth. We can run. Kyle's pointed out our 2 interior guys. We have guys behind him. We have guys on the edge. We have a secondary with corners and safeties. Our linebacking crew, this might be the best linebacking crew YSU has had in a while, right? I mean, Kyle, you were talking about him on the telecast last weekend. So we have all those pieces, Flash Wilson, the guys out there, Max, and the other receivers and all these running backs. We're going to have to put drives together and convert on third downs. But just as much as that, when you watch these games and they're big games and you can swing momentums, you can't just pick up a yard on first down. I think you got to go out there and maybe on first down, you throw a slant or you get out on the edge and run a little boot action and complete a 6-yard comeback route. And just so it's like we're ahead of the chains a little bit. And most importantly, we got a long season. We got to, just be healthy and come out of the game with, some things to look positive on rather than when the last time we played them and we got beat up.
Yeah, if you guys remember the Ohio State game, I was sitting with Kurt and Cyril at that game. Y'all remember Doug Phillips took the approach of running the clock as much as possible down to the last second, and he kept their offense off the field and gave our defense long rest. I think you're going to see that same mentality, especially after the way Pitt went. I think he's going to go in there, and Mitch is not the rusher or the runner that Bo is. So even more so now, we can really run that clock down with this running back depth. I see Doug really working the clock, keeping their offense off the field, keeping our defense rested. And I see this is the type game that I argue you guys about. This is the type game I do want to see those 10 plus drives, play drives that I think we will see. I have us losing 31-6, but I see us holding on to the ball, and I see our defense playing real hard, get up maybe a touchdown per quarter. I think it's going to be close until the fourth quarter, but Dan, I'm with you. I think we stick in there enough to cover the game. But guys, we got about 5 minutes, so we got to potentially run through this. But Cyril, I know I've seen in the YouTube chat some score predictions and some takes. Any score predictions to share?
Let's see. Let me make sure I don't miss one. Boom, boom, boom.
Oh, it's pretty live tonight.
Yeah, no, I got a gentleman swag, 42-28, Michigan State. Mets has them, Michigan State winning 35-14. I thought I saw one more. So just those two. Gentleman swag, 42-28. Metzinger, 35-14. Jason got one in there?
Yeah, 28-14, Michigan State.
28-14, yeah. All right. Sorry, Jason.
You got Pokemon?
To Pokemon? Oh,
he's got
he says Michigan State wins, but hoping our offense scores somewhere between 17 and 24 points. So, he's going to take well, I would assume that he's taking the spread, but
yeah, no doubt. All right, let's run through some of these scores, guys. Here we go. Starting on Friday. How about Friday night? Indiana State is at number 22, Indiana, 6:30. That, too, is on the Big Ten Network. Indiana minus 45.5. I'm having Indiana win, but I'm really impressed with this Indiana State game. I'm going to go Indiana State Sycamores with the points.
Indiana Hoosiers to win and cover.
I'm going to take Indiana State with the points.
Give me Indiana. I'll lay those points with the Fighting Signettis. So,
all right, Saturday, September 13th. Northern Colorado is at South Dakota, 2 p.m. South Dakota is a minus 3.5 favorite. I think the Yotes will get back on track. I think they're going to win and cover this one.
Yotes.
Give me Northern Colorado.
Ooh.
What's the line on this game, Sal?
3.5.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's going to be like a 3-point game, one way or the other. So,
give me the Yotes.
Okay.
I could take you all the way to Colorado.
And by the way, there was a typo. Cyril did catch it last week. It was Indiana State 3.5, even though they almost did cover a 35-point spread.
Which is insane.
Yeah.
He's so wise.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah.
I took the Fighting Romos with the 3.5 points, and I shouldn't have.
Oof.
Panthers.
North Dakota is at Montana Grizzlies, 3 p.m. North Dakota being a road favorite at Montana, minus 2.5. And I've got to say, I take it. I like North Dakota to win this game.
I'll take the Grizz at home.
Give me North Dakota.
Man, this is a tough one. I mean, normally I'd be like, give me the Grizz all day long. I don't know enough about Montana this year, but man,
they're 1-0.
Give me the Grizz. Give me there you go. Thanks.
That's
Sledge.
Enough, Dan.
That's it. Give me the Grizz at home.
They're undefeated. Illinois State is at Eastern Illinois, 3 p.m. I was very unencouraged by Eastern Illinois. The line is minus 24.5 for the Redbirds of Illinois State. I'm going, of course, Illinois State to win and cover, courtesy of my other podcast, right?
Yeah, same. I enjoy that podcast too, Sal. Good job.
So is Eastern Illinois trying to audition to be in the Missouri Valley? Because it did not go well against Indiana State, right? They might be better than Murray State, though. They might be better than Murray State, though. Give me them damn Redbirds to cover.
Man, Eastern Illinois must obviously they're bad. Wow, giving up 3 touchdowns at home to an in-state rival. Yeah, give me the Redbirds.
Okay, and then the game we all talked about, Youngstown State at Michigan State, 3:30 p.m. Big Ten Network. Everyone definitely tune in. Michigan State is a minus 20.5 favorite. I think I have the Penguins. It looks like Kurt has the Penguins. Dan has the Penguins by a half point, and Cyril has the Penguins. So we all took the Penguins to cover the spread, but not to win the game. Southeastern Missouri State at the Fargo Dome, North Dakota State, 3:30 p.m. The Bison minus 31.5 favorite. I'm going North Dakota State to win and cover.
Bison.
Give me the Bison by 37.5.
Bison.
Alternate spread.
Alternate spread.
Eastern Washington in the Unidome at Northern Iowa, 5 p.m. Northern Iowa, 14.5 favorite. They are going to win, but I'm taking Eastern Washington with the points.
This is an interesting one. I'll take UNI. Win and cover at home.
14.5, man. Eastern Washington used to be dirty out
Good.
there. You know,
Yeah.
Shout out Cooper Kupp, Dave's boy.
Cave.
Give me Eastern Washington to score, Northern Iowa to win. I'll take Eastern Washington with the points.
Give me Northern Iowa.
Man, we got a lot of split. I love it. Murray State at Georgia State, 7 p.m. Georgia State is a minus 20.5 favorite. Georgia State by 1 million to win and demolish.
We've already talked too much about Murray State tonight.
Yeah, let's just all say Georgia State and move on.
Yeah, move
Yeah,
on with
yeah.
our lives.
All right. Southern Illinois Salukis at UT Martin, 7 p.m. UT Martin is a favorite at minus 5.5. I'm going UT Martin to win and cover.
This is FBS UT Martin.
Yes.
Are they FBS in the same as Missouri State?
Their
No.
schedule seems mixed. Like they played Oklahoma State, they played UTEP, they got Missouri State.
Are they in the Sun Belt?
What the hell are they in? No, Ohio Valley Conference, Big South.
I was gonna say you guys,
But they have a lot of
They're
FCS
still?
teams.
yeah,
Yeah.
they're FCS.
I'm thinking maybe UT San Antonio. I don't know. UT San
Yeah,
Antonio.
you are.
Yeah. Let's try the Salukis here. Take the point.
Okay.
Hold on a second. Let me think about this.
Let me
Who'd you take, Kurt or Sal?
I took
Salukis.
UT Martin.
Oh,
Still did a lot of prep before the show.
give me the Salukis.
This is a huge game. He can't miss this.
I can't miss it, man. I always swing and miss early. I got to be dialed in this year. I'll take UT Martin at home.
Yo, let's go. All right. Lastly, the Drake. The Drake is at South Dakota State. The Drakes
That's
at the Jackrabbit, 7 p.m. South Dakota State is minus 38.5 favorite. Obviously, Jackrabbits will win, but I don't see them putting up 40 just out of respect. I'm going Drake with the points.
Let's go with the
Drake.
Jackrabbits to win by 45 points.
Dude, Drake played Upper Iowa. What is that? What is Upper Iowa? The Upper
It's
Iowa.
north of Northern Iowa, I think.
It looks like they're the Peacocks. They beat the Peacocks.
Oh boy.
Drake's got to go on the road. It's probably already cold in South Dakota. I'll be there in like a week and a half. Give me them Jackrabbits by 42.5 points.
I don't think Drake knows what they're in for. The Drake. So give me the Jackrabbits.
The Drakers.
All right. And lastly, game of your choice if you prep for it. I just took Boston College at Stanford. Boston College is a minus 11.5. After losing that heartbreaker to Michigan State last week, I think Boston College is going to respond. Bill Bryan's obviously a great offensive coordinator. Stanford, I think, is going to have a very, very sad, long season. Boston College by 1 million to win and definitely cover. Anyone have anything else?
Yeah. I hope Claire's not watching this downstairs. Anyways, Ohio versus Ohio State. The spread is 30.5. I'm taking the Bobcats with the points.
Whoa.
Interesting. They beat West Virginia, right, last week.
They did beat West Virginia, and they almost beat Rutgers. Now, that's bottom of the barrel Big Ten, almost beat them. I think they're a little scrappy. In-state rivalry in terms of being from the same state. Now, Ohio State has not lost to an in-state school since 1954, 50. Someone fact check me, but from like the 50s.
Before the car was invented.
Yeah, and it was to a school that currently does not have a football program, Oberlin College. So I'm taking the Bobcats with the points.
Anyone on anything else?
Yeah, I got Central Michigan at Michigan. Central Michigan at Michigan. It is a 27.5-point spread. Michigan coming off of that Oklahoma loss. They got a really good freshman quarterback, Bryce Underwood. I'm just concerned. I don't know where Connor Stallions, which sideline is he going to be on for this game? So what do you guys think? Is he going to Chippewas?
Wow.
Spoken like the guy from Columbus, right? No, I'm kidding. My bad.
What you got? You get anyone, Dan?
I'm a little worried to say I want to stay with the Fighting Golishes South Florida Bulls. How many are they getting against the U?
I think it was 17.5 last time. Check. It was 17.5 when I looked.
I mean, I'm 2-0 with the Bulls this year. Everyone thought I was crazy for them against Florida. I mean, Florida could have won the game, but people like to spit nowadays. You know, I don't
just take them, Dan. Just do it.
Yeah, let me stay with the Fighting Golishes. Give me that 17.5 down in Coral Gables there.
Money line?
Miami Gardens.
Nah, he wants the points.
They can't in their own city, but anyway, let's lock it up. But before we do, Cyril, any more YouTube chat comments, questions, anything worth mentioning in general?
I don't know.
And
Richard Wolf says 33-10 Michigan State.
Okay. Kurt, any Instagram or anything worth noting?
No, we just want to give a shout out to the Leiden family, keeping energy inside the valley. You know, energy fuels success. Paul and Laura Leiden, Paul Jr. getting ready to meet Cyril out in South Dakota. Cyril might be going out on one of the South Dakota Coyote podcasts out there. So as always, we just want to give a shout out to some of the best family members in Penguin Nation, the Leiden family.
And lastly, Dan, any Penguin high school shout outs or Penguin shout outs in general?
No, I'm going to echo Curdy's comment there about the Leiden family. Thanks for everything they do. They're, big supporters.
Spot.
Yeah, I mean, he's looking up hunting gear right now. I think he's trying to find some camo gear. I got a hat for you, Kyle, if you want to roll out with this.
I gotta wear bright orange, so I don't get my noggin taken off with some pellets.
There you go. I remember us getting Paul Leiden Sr. some Under Armour hunting gear back in the day. He loved it. So their whole family is great. So let's shout them out, and let's do also some prayers for the Charlie Kirk family, man. How about a little love for them?
Yeah, absolutely.
100%. I think once Jim Tressel becomes governor of Ohio, Dan is potentially going to be the lieutenant governor of Ohio. He's well in line for his
no chance. No chance. I would have zero chance. I wouldn't even get a vote.
That was
you guys wouldn't even vote for me.
By the way. But all right, everyone's going to lock it up.
Lock it up.
Let's lock it up. All right, again, your Youngstown State Penguins are playing this Saturday at Michigan State, 3:30 p.m. It's going to be on the Big Ten Network. Don't believe Kyle Stroh is going to be doing the play-by-play, even though I think he should. Irregardless, you have been watching the Youngstown State Penguin podcast. As always, that's my host. That's Dan Kopp. That's Kurt Hess. That's Kyle Stroh. And I am Sal Guardo. Please follow us on Instagram, Whitetown Penguin Podcast, and we'll be back with you next Wednesday, 8 p.m. on YouTube Live. And again, this is the Youngstown Penguin Football Podcast, and go Penguins.